can become precedent. Few examples again in front of us. First is NPCI. NPCI, National Payment Council of India, was formed by RBI, Indian Banks Association. Now please understand that this, what they created, could have been done by one or two banks coming together. However, they saw the larger world and they created NPCI, and the result, one of the results is UPI, which as we know is one of the best digital currencies in the world. 9.4 billion transactions in May. Most of us use it. We all are familiar with the convenience it brings. And guess what? There's so many countries which are adopting now. So that is the power of collaboration with conversation and negotiation as the input parameters. Then we have the Air Jordan. Who would know about Air Jordan's story? Okay, thanks. So would you know that this was the first time a sports company gave a per sale commission to an athlete?
Yes.
And if you guys have seen the movies, they're on Amazon, like I invite you to. Very interesting. Now this amazing collaboration led to a fee of $2.5 million per year going to the athlete Michael Jordan, and it led to a sale of $162 million in the first year of inception, and something $4.8 billion of sale in 2021. The legacy lives on, and it is basically an outcome of the collaboration. This is the negotiation and conversation. And we have one more example of staunch competitors, Suzuki and Toyota, coming together, exchanging ideas, creating a common design platform. Now you have the Grand Vitara and you have the Hyrider, which are based on same platform. They'll be leveraging on the individual distribution networks of both these two auto behemoths. These are not small companies, mind you. Why they have come together? Why they are synergizing? Why they are saving cost? And in the end, hence, improving or scaling up the profits by leaps and bounds. Point to think, right? And then of course we have this wonderful example of Soul Adda. Minds coming together based on trust, based on support. Look at the upswing in business and community projects, as Mohitana was saying, that can, get created out of this platform here. So negotiation is not an unfamiliar word for any one of us. Needs no introduction. We all face it day in, day out. Sometimes it's about 10 rupees, sometimes it's about 10 crores. We face it, we make the other person face it. It goes on and on subconsciously. One important aspect that I'm sure most of us will be present to, it's not easy to negotiate with our loved ones. Do you wonder why? Can anybody try and relate as to why we can't negotiate with them? So
we get emotional.
Exactly.
You already know you are going to lose.
Especially when it comes to spouses, right? So how it goes is that negotiations typically are psychological. They are not logical. And when it comes to our loved ones, obviously, our barriers are down and we get into the flow of their conversation frame. So they create a conversation frame and we just fall into them. So please hang on to these words, the conversation frame, very important. You would know that there are times when you are about to lose a deal and you create a separate aspect to that conversation that the deal stays. Or the other way around, you are about to win the deal and some competition comes and swings it away from you. So it is because of the conversation frame they have suddenly created. What is it that they give to the buyer? So things like this. So high stake negotiations as written, more psychological, but guess what we are going to do? We are going to look at the most important tools today that propel the high stake negotiation conversations. And be with me, I know this theory, I know it is not as fun and as soul stirring as Manik, but please, this is really important. And this can change things for you. Trust me on this. Thank you. So the first tool is to be a mirror. Now this is really interesting. Just think of the scenario that I and Tarun are negotiating, right? If you see from outside, you will see one voice negotiating with the other voice, but actually there are four voices at work. So it's my physical voice. I am telling him something, and his inner voice is calibrating, analyzing, and he is formulating a response. And then his physical voice gives it back to me. And while he is giving back to me, my inner voice is again calibrating, formulating another response. And then my physical voice will give it back to him. So 4 voices at work. And they are not aligned. Mind you. So when they are not aligned, do you think the negotiation will be a equitable negotiation? One who probably is louder, one who probably has more knowledge or more weight in the conversation will win, and the other person will not. But that is not the way we want to play it. We want to use the technique. So what is the technique? The technique is to be a mirror, and these are the components. The first is I align my inner voice to his inner voice, and this is done by active listening. Please understand, psychologically, all us human beings, we need money and everything, no two ways about it. But what we really need is to be heard, to be understood. And this is a deep psychological need that we have ever since we were born. And today, as the world becomes more competitive, we tend to feel that we are not being heard fully. If I approach a meeting with 10 points, probably if I swing across 4, I'm happy, right? But that's not the way. How to do it then? Align my inner voice to us and mirror and mimic him. And make him feel comfortable. As soon as do that, his physical voice drops. His inner voice takes over. And when he feels comfortable, he will reveal some crucial information that will help me close the deal. So it's like if you guys play cricket and know cricket, it's like spin bowling, right? Pace will not do it, spin will do it. The second is we use a voice which is deep, slow, soft, reassuring. One of us here, Sandeep sir, has that kind of voice. I've seen him in action a couple of times. He can put his word across without raising it, and suddenly all our ears to what he's going to say. And that is something, this deep, assuring voice. It's something like, a nighttime DJ that you hear on radio. So daytime DJ is more aggressive. He tends to have more modulation in his voice. The nighttime one is different. So that is the kind of voice that we need to use. The next one is really important, which is paraphrasing, as Micah says it. So when you repeat what the other person said, all 3 important words of what he said. And as soon as we do it, trust me, this is the fastest and the sharpest way to align to the inner voice. Any questions so far?
Repeat the last 3 words.
Absolutely. So let's say I'm negotiating with you. You say a sentence. Okay, fine, your offer is this, but guess what? I'm doing things from this direction, blah, blah, blah. You give me some input. Now when I repeat that input, or let's say the summary, keywords from that input, then you feel heard, you feel understood. Amongst as many vendors that are in front of you, you will feel that, hey, he understands my word. He understands where I'm coming from. Possibly he can give more value in his solution than others. This is all subliminal psychology, and it works.
So, if the idea is to have the intention of making it happen for both the parties.
Yeah.
If it's just about me, then it may not happen. So the thing is that, let's say I'm a seller or I'm a buyer, then it should be a win-win situation.
Absolutely.
If that intention is not there, then active listening will not happen, because the fear will start to creep in.
So it's like Vaidana, and guess what? When you do active listening, not only you are aligning the other person to you, but automatically you are aligning yourself to the person. And be assured, while it's not there in the slide, the same win-win, I'm right, you are right, kind of a situation happens. So that's a great perspective. Thank you for this. Okay, now the next tool, and this I use it very often, is label it. Don't deny, so let's say the other person is high emotion, high passion, or he's coming from a fixed place of emotion. Now this typically happens more in social surroundings or with relationships, business relationships where you are doing farming more than hunting. Like in key accounts management in us corporate. Now the idea is not to ignore or bypass that emotion, no, acknowledge it. I'll give an example, and it's personal. I had to go for dinner with my wife and I was late from office. And the moment I entered, I could see that she's kind of livid. And I said, hey, listen, I'm sorry. I know you're bug with me, totally. I can get that. And I'm not going to say that I got stuck in office because, yes, that's the truth. That's not the way it should have been. I promised you. But I've been really looking forward to this night. Let's go out, have fun. We are meeting people that we love and they love us back. Let's have fun. Now, the moment I said, hey, I'm sorry, and I know you're bug with me, half of it temperature dropped. And this happens. You can use this. Not only with spouses, but with business partners where deliveries are late or promises are not met or specifications are not met. Just label the emotion, acknowledge the emotion. Very, very important. And then take a pause. There has to be a pause so that this sinks into the other person's mind and then reinforce the positive. That hey, we are looking forward to have a great evening. Or hey, I got late, the delivery got late, but guess what? It fits perfectly your needs and I'm sure that it's going to do a great job. Or something like that. See, you know your business much more than any of us here. How you utilize this is best known to you, but trust me, if you use this, you will create magic.
Isn't it like taking responsibility for it?
Absolutely. Taking responsibility and also making the other person feel that you're taking responsibility. It's like as a child when I was up to mischief and I would say sorry, my mom wouldn't say anything. I mean, she would say it's not cutting it. Till the time she felt I'm sorry.
And when you're taking the responsibility, when you actually talk about the impact it is having on the other person and on you, I think that is where this
Absolutely.
really helps.
Absolutely. Any questions on this line? Thanks. Okay, now this is a very, very important slide. Most of us face it. Beware of yes, master the no. Very interesting slide. You would have experienced many times you go to close the deal, the other person says, yes, we do it. हाँ करेंगे. Yes, everything is fine. Yeah, we do it. देखूंगा बताऊंगा. You are मना नहीं करा. I want to do it. Your rates are fine. Then I'll get back to you. He's saying yes. He's not saying no. Many of us would have studied closing techniques, get 3 yeses, get the yes, etc. etc. That's on passing. I mean, it's old, vintage now. You have to get the deal making yes. Unless the deal making yes is not there, you are stuck in 2 yeses. One is a counterfeit, yes, escape, easy escape. हाँ मैं बताऊंगा. Or हाँ you're right, I need this, but I'll let you know. Okay? Again, procrastinating or postponing the inevitable, and then one fine day that you get to know the deal went to somebody else. That's not the way you want, right? So instead, what you do is you make him say no. Do you want to close the deal today? He says yes. Then when the deal is closed, he says no. Then you ask him why. What is it that is not working for you? What is it that you want extra that it will work for you? It seems there's something here or there's something which is not here, which is not appealing to you or making you close the deal. Things like this which actually then makes the other person to bring out what is there on the back of his mind. Now he is also operating out of instinct, right? In his mind it's not 100% clear, it's not green. Kahin kuch hai, something is there that is stopping him. Now when you ask him, one thing he acknowledges is that you're probing more than others. And second that yes, now I'm able to bring out something which was bothering me, I was not able to articulate. These open-ended questions will allow him to bring out more insofar as requirement is concerned, or want to make the deal close. In case these things are not coming out, then you can simply ask him, do you want to let this deal go away? Have you given up? If he says yes, then obviously the deal was never there on the table. But if he says no, then you go back to that question instantly. Tell me what to do.
Tell me what to do.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Any questions on this? So,
many a times, see, we deal in air conditioning. So, R is a contract sale. And it is a high value ticket. So, the negotiation for us is all about building a trust.
I'm sorry, it's about
Building a trust.
Exactly.
Because since it's a high value ticket, the customer, before saying yes or no, it is more important for us to create that level of trust. So, in this, what I find is missing. It's just like a usual sale. It really depends upon, maybe in some cases it may work. It may work, I don't say. But in especially the cases like which are high value, special the contractual contract sales, be it civil, electrical, HVAC, and maybe others, IT also for that matter. How do we enhance the trust instantly with the customer?
That's a great question, sir. And yes, you're right. Preparing the deal is not part of this today's presentation. This is basically 2 steps ahead of that. But preparing deal, as you rightly pointed out, is very important. And this includes definitely building the trust, which happens by way of testimonials. Today you have something like Google rating, or what works the most are references. And networking here is very important. That works for you, gets you business when you're not even there on the table. And if you wish, I can create a PPT on that later, possibly next month, and we can sit on that. Very, very important.
But one thing you can do in high value sale, like you said, that is high trust. So you have to productize yourself. So the value, if the value of the sale is increasing, you are on the line leading it, you become the face of the business and take all the responsibility to build the trust. Because, and the second tool is to make the party believe that it's not a zero-sum game. So it's a win-win situation that you take forward in any high value sale.
Absolutely. You can be there in every deal closure personally. So how do you empower your team to do it? How do you scale business up? Is when all of your team members are carrying the same kind of finesse when it comes to creating that trust, or being sharing the brand value to the other person. And then of course what Sir was talking about. And this is again a process or time-driven exercise. Takes more of internal training as well as the visibility that you create in the digital world. But anyhow, we'll get there next month. I promise you. Thanks.
I have one point. I think that like if you are targeting only the one company where already you have completed some projects with them probably, so then obviously it can be the part of the trust. But like if you are approaching the larger market, then probably creating a trust probably the part of the marketing.
Yeah, correct.
Right, because it's not the part of the sale actually, because we need to create a platform first, so that like we are approaching somebody, they know us before reaching, we are reaching there actually, so they know us. So there are multiple things through that we can create trust or the confidence in the market that okay, this company is doing
Name
good.
one.
Sorry?
Name one. A very important keyword. So apart from marketing, making a brand visible and all, there's one particular aspect that really works wonders for you, for new prospects.
Word of mouth.
Exactly. Which
Exactly.
translates to reputation.
Yeah.
Reference, of course, and you'll get reference when you have a good reputation.
But for the startups, we don't have a reference.
Anyway, I'll just be very quick here because you need to cover a lot of things. What I would like to add here, what works actually, the trust factor when I raised. It was also advice from one of my friends. So adding to the listening part, we completely changed ourselves. Before approaching a customer, rather than telling all about ourselves, what we are doing, and writing essays about what we have achieved, rather we would like to listen. And especially when we asked him that what are your pain points? Now,
Yeah.
this is something made a difference. Now, here is a seller which is asking कि not only मैं क्या करूँगा, लेकिन मैं कैसे करूँगा? आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है मेरे को बताओ। और उसने बहुत हमारे को कन्वर्जन रेट बहुत अच्छा किया।
Very true, very true.
Absolutely.
हाँ, पेन पॉइंट्स को जब किया है। Okay.
So my philosophy of doing business is that we do business as a cause or as a way of getting money in. सारे businesses का यही, that's the basics of it. So how about putting apathy into business?
Oh, absolutely.
And I think money is the derivative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not the purpose of you doing something.
Absolutely.
If you do it correctly and earnestly, that's the derivative. That's gonna come. Maybe sooner or maybe later, but it's gonna be a derivative. So when we go and listen to, like, I'm an IT consultant and I have a IT company. So as Sandeep said, we don't ask ke hum ye kar denge. Always say, what's your problem? And that's the apathy. And never splitting the difference, I have read, and it tells you a lot of stuff. And
Yeah,
this
yeah,
is,
absolutely. In fact, if you guys go deeper,
Before you go, I have a different definition of.
can I just cover that very quickly?
Sure.
So if you guys go deeper into these questions, these are A, trying to uncover the pain areas, and B, also are empathetic in nature,
Yeah.
right? They are leveraging on both. What can be a solution-oriented requirement, as well as arousing empathy in the other person. Point number one. Having said that, these conversations are for on-the-table conversation. What Sandeep sir was talking about, the prelim conversations before you reach the table, and again, equally important topic. So
my input was more about the definition of business. So there is another stream of thought where they say that the business are the vehicle to create value, to solve a problem that society is looking at and they are not able to solve it. And the society will in turn will reward you in terms of money and many variables. So that's what I wanted to do.
yeah, absolutely, very good. Thanks. Now this is again a slide that will underline the psychological aspect of negotiation, and this is bending their reality, which means that when the other person is coming to a negotiation table, he's got a canvas in his mind that is going to approach this conversation from this angle, say that, blah blah blah. He feels he's in control. Now the idea is to let him feel in control, no problem, but then you have to bend the reality in a way that before closing the deal, you are able to move closer to him. Right? So let's start, take it one by one. The first is, we gauge the deadline. What is his deadline? Now if you ask him blatantly, openly, he will get to know you're trying to leverage on deadline. So this has to be done softly. Right? The second is, use the word fair. Most of us human beings are fair in nature. If I say, I am trying to create a fair deal, or this is a very fair price I am giving to you, the other person will reevaluate. It's a given. Or if you tell him, give me a fair chance. What is it that is in your comparison sheet that is not there in my quotation? I can possibly add that, or maybe add more. Right? So all these things work when we use the word fair. It's like setting up a conversation frame. The second is establish a range. Very important. I want to close the deal at, let's say, 10,000. I'd say, cost of this work is typically from 10,000 to 14,000. And he says, hey, no, I'm not going to pay it 14,000. I'd say, okay, fine, let's try and work closer to 10,000. So in a way, you are creating a space in his mind insofar pricing is concerned. Happens all the time, especially now when prices are increasing. Many people you meet, they'll be fixated on the past. No, I purchased that 3 years back for that much. That price doesn't work any longer. You have to create this range in his mind. You have to give data-driven examples. You can go to this site, you can check with that person, etc. etc. You have to recalibrate the price range in his mind. Shall we take a pause? Slightly getting theoretical.
No.
The next is non-monetary inclusions, work or not. You're appealing to his ego. Fine. For you, you have 6 months extra, so warranty, etc. etc. So these things do work. Let's look at, when we give numbers, let's look at giving non-rounded numbers. For example, not 50,000 but 52763, and make a show of calculating. Sir, I've checked everything. I'm rechecking, etc. etc. It's coming out to this much. And give a justification. This way, you are showing that you are more of an expert. I face this myself. I was purchasing an escalator from my own building. And I faced this myself and I was wowed by the other person. He was what? A diploma in electronics. I mean, I'm not trying to show that I'm superior. I'm just saying the other person was so savvy. He was so smart. He used this. He was already having the talent to use this. And I fell for it. And then we use conversation frames. How am I supposed to do that? These are words, important words. You can use the same or you can use different. But you have to use something that makes the other person see things from your angle, your world. He needs to understand that you are running a business here. You are trying to create a reasonable profit for you, your employees, etc. So choose the words that you wish to use. I use always these. How am I supposed to use that? Any questions on this? Thank you. The next one is creating illusion of control, wherein, as I said earlier, we allow him to feel that he is dominating, and we give him the illusion by asking calibrated open-ended questions, try and move closer to him. For example, we'll talk about the deal, we'll talk about the commercials. Can we talk about the site readiness? Can we talk about what all will be required? So you told me you want this to be done in, let's say, X. Okay, not that. You told me you want this to be done in X days. For that, the site needs to have this. Now, what is happening here? You are making him feel you are an expert, and you are making him move closer to solutioning. He is becoming your partner here. The next is use I am right, you are right. Don't force your opponent to admit you are right, even if you are right, he is wrong. Continue with the angle or perspective or context of I am right, you are right. The next one is avoid emotional reactions, very important. The moment an emotional outburst occurs, the person feels you are lost. He looked down upon you. And mentally, we want to be 50-50. He is not 51, I am not 49. We have to be 50-50. And for that, emotional equilibrium is very important. Now, this is true for both business as well as personal negotiations. And so, please stick to this. A wonderful saying, you can go through it. Now, some examples of calibrated questions. How am I supposed to do that? What about this is important to you? How we can make this better? How do we solve this? Please see we. It's either we or it is you most of the times. Why do you want to do business with me?
Yeah.
Right? Then you share his playing areas or he'll share, which I have heard about you. This again gives you a mental edge.
True.
Questions? Thank you. Now, very important. Negotiator also have types. Broadly, there are 3 types. Let's examine these 3 types. How to detect which type the negotiator is, the other person, and how to handle it. The first one, and the toughest, is analyst. Very methodical, very diligent, works on Excel. Typically, your purchase guys, finance guys are it is. They will not be in a big rush. If you tell him, okay, fine, I'll give you 10% discount, let's close the deal. He'll say 10%, okay, he'll note it, put in his Excel, he'll not close the deal. Do not give the discount till the time you're sure the deal is about to close. How to handle them is use data only. They are not quick to answer calibrated questions. Their forte is numbers. They will say previous purchase order, this, that. Ask open calibrated questions, like we covered it. The next one, uncommon data is. People have to know. They love relationships. They are pushed by their seniors to get the prices reduced. They feel embarrassed asking for a discount. The best way to deal with them is empathy. Show them that you are one of them, and be very, very friendly in terms of the conversation and uncover what is it that will move them in creating a long-term deal. So very recently a deal has got closed wherein while we gave a discount, we also told the person we want exclusivity for 3 years. That's it. And the other person relented. And this is how you can utilize this. You come to their range of numbers, no two ways about it, but then you create something extra that brings value to you for long term. The third is a circle. Now these are very difficult. Huh? They think they are gods. They think they are doing you a favor. You travel 2 hours to their office, they make you wait half an hour more, they'll say they got only 5 minutes. And they think they are gods and they are doing you a favor by giving this audience, etc. etc. For them, mirroring. Mirroring, calibrated questions, be quick, concise, make them feel again at 50-50 equation that you are equally important. Sometimes for such people, giving reference to previous deals closed with bigger organizations or people you have met who are senior to them in the hierarchy of industry it works. You have to give it back to them. इनके साथ empathy नहीं चलती. Empathy doesn't work with them. Any questions on this? How much time do we have? 5. Okay, special bonus. This is a layered conversation. So let's say I'm selling and I've got a level in mind. I'll first tell him that, hey, okay, fine, I'm giving you a value or a discount, which is, let's say, 65% of what discount I wanted to give. So when I say first offer at 65, I'll say first offer at 65% discount. Try and close it. Push him. He'll use all his techniques, he'll give you all data, all inputs, all reasons. Then you come to 85%. This is where you have to close. This is where you can give extra. This is where you can justify by premium pricing. Because you know in your mind you are still paying 15% above the fee. But when you do this, guess what? Your expertise in negotiating or closing is increasing. And this is the range where I want everyone to operate in. This way you are bringing value to your employees, your business, your industry for that matter. If not, then final is 95%. Use this only if you know the conversation is increasing in the hierarchy. For example, first is the purchase manager, then is the purchase director, and suddenly the CEO calls you. Hey, Ajo, sign kar raha hu, Ajo. Come for a cup of tea. Many of us have gone for that cup of tea, which is so expensive. So he'll ask another discount. He will say, sir, deal was closed. No. Anyhow, so keep that offer. And final offer, obviously, you can't go more than this, not to worry about it. Again, don't use rounded numbers. Never. Use empathy. Use dialogues like, if he says fine, we'll close this. So very generous of you, not possible for me. I have to work, I have to sustain, etc. I have to continue giving a good service. Service today is very important for people. Very important. People are just not into box purchasing now. They want peace of mind. So leverage that. So this is the last slide. I think I'm good on time. This is a practice slide for everyone. You most welcome to take pictures. This is what I want you to do. And in fact, today when you meet up later in the day, ask yourself, try and practice active listening. Try and practice your inner voice going away. As soon as your inner voice is going away, you are aligning. Try that today, everyone. The next is slow down. Smile when you talk, even when on the phone. Try doing that. Again, Sandeep sir type voice. Then there are times when you can be playful also. The other person will give you cues. Okay, fine, there's not the time to have a serious conversation. Then you can become a playful, jolly person that every one of us are inside. Mirror, very important. Do this all the time. It works wonders. Labeling, we've already covered that. And finally, remain rational. Don't lose your emotions. No reactions. Most important, even if the deal is not closing, even if you know the deal is going, state something positive. Because what you say in the last remains in the recall of the person. The person after some time will forget what you were wearing, what you were carrying, but you remember what you said. And this is where the parent conversations come into the picture. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.